Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Today, we're going to go through everything surrounding the Trackmania World Cup 2024, who's playing, what's the format, and everything around it, so you know everything surrounding the events. So, the Trackmania World Cup is going to be one of the shortest World Cups there has been in Trackmania history, and it's going to be happening this Friday, which is going to be 25th of October. And it's going to be starting at 11:30 CST, which is pretty early in the day, and it's on Friday as well. So basically, in the World Cup, there's going to be 8 players who will be taking part. Each of them qualified in some kind of form. So, for example, Otak got invited due to winning the World Championship from last year, but since last year was duos, the invitation went to Carmine Corp. And Carmine Corp had the opportunity to pick any player if they wanted, and they picked Otak, so he got direct slots directly into the main event. Then there were 2 regional qualifiers, the ROTW final, which basically consisted of players from Asia, Oceania, Middle East, and Africa. There were 2 separate qualifiers that were held, and Mada won that one. That's how he qualified to the event. There was the same thing then for Americas, for North and South America, which was won by Carl Jr. Then there was the European Major, which was a specific event that was allocated, which was the XP Evo, where the best performing player who had not yet qualified had a guaranteed slot into the World Cup. And this slot was given to Pack because Epos won the event, but since Pack was second, Epos was already qualified. It was already given. Then it was given to Pack, and then there was the Trackmania World Tour playoffs from this year. So in Trackmania World Tour playoffs, basically consisted 32 invited players who were from the range from the top 64 of the World Tour standings. If you did not follow the World Tour this year, basically World Tour had many events that were given out points based on the players' performances, and there was a ranking based on those players' points. And for the World Tour playoffs, there were the top 64 players were invited based on down the list from first to second to take part in this World Tour playoffs brackets, from which 31 of the 64 basically approved. And from that, we got the 4 players: Masa, Binks, Pussito Paco, and Epos. One of these is a debut player for the World Championships, and that is Pussito Paco. Epos did already appear in last year's World Championship, where he played under the team of Split, where he played together of Razi. So we have Pussito Paco as a debutant for the World Cup. So the World Cup is going to be a bit unfortunate format. But I do think we're going to get some banging matches out of it. So the World Cup is going to be taking part in 1v1v1v1s. It's going to be played in the so-called Cup Classic game mode. That's also some people just call it as Cup mode, but there are multiple Cup mode variants in the game. But the actual core in technical specifics is going to be the Cup Classic is going to be utilized, which basically in every single round the players are going to collect points based on their positions in a round. The first one's going to get 10, 6, 4, 3, and that's going to be the distribution. They play the match till someone reaches the points limit. For semifinals, it's going to be 120, and for the grand finals, it's going to be 140. And when players reach this points amount, they will get to the final status, and they have to win a round to secure their position. For the semifinals, basically, it will be played till top 2 advance, and for the grand final, it will be played out to know who's first, second, and third. So that's going to be the main principles, but one of the most unfortunate things that has brought up is one thing is that not only there's only 8 players for the World Cup, but there's also it's single elimination. And the way how these matches were decided is that Otak was given a direct first seed opportunity to pick their opponents from the entirety of the player pool, which was Mada, Carl Jr., Pac, Binks, Epos, and Pussito Paco. But Masa, since he won the Trackmania World Tour playoffs event, he was given the second possibility to pick their opponents. So it was basically Otak picking someone, Masa picking for someone, Otak, Masa, and like this. And with this, we had the match distribution is done like this, where in semifinal 1 we have Otak, Mada, Epos, Pac. And then the other semifinal is going to be Masa, Pussito Paco, Bunks, and Carl Jr. So all of these matches are going to be happening at 11:30 CST, which is going to be pretty early in the day on Friday, to keep in mind. It's going to be taking part in the Paris Games Week, so it's going to be an in-person event. Last year we had a cool studio set, but there was no chance for audience. But this time around, at least there's a chance for audience for people to see and watch the matches. However, there's going to be only 3 of them compared to last year when there was like 40 something in the entirety of online and offline stage. which is going to be a shame, but I do think these matches are bangers. For the World Cup, there are 5 dedicated maps that were already used for the Trackmania World Tour playoffs, which was the only 2 events where these specific map set is utilized, and this map pack, I would say, is one of the hardest competitive map sets there has been. One of the reasons for it is because from last year's feedback, one of the things is a lot of people were against identities. And entirety of this year, there was a guideline that the maps have to be medium in difficulty. But for the World Cup, we kind of wanted to go all out. One of the things was a bit unfortunate was some of the timing of the map release schedules, because we kind of had to stick with what was already preset as the official release times. Thankfully, we got it released a bit earlier, but you know, there were some small problems around that. But either way, there are 5 maps that were made by certain community members. So one of them is Castlemania by Kisla, Roll Cage by Karluki, Secrets by Nadano, Spin-Off by Whiskey, and Wave Control by Rocket. So these were the 4 maps. Some of the times we already see by most of the players. Most top players actually keep their times hidden, but these were the times that were done and by players from the World Tour playoffs. And this is one of the things that usually top players do, where they just hide times to not reveal their pace, not reveal their times, and not kind of give this push to people. Oh, let's say, oh, he's 0.2 faster than me. Then there's somewhere I'm missing something, or it's going to give a small drive for them to push. So that's one of the reasons why a lot of top players kind of hide their times. And also to not reveal some additional information as well. So regarding the maps, so during the match, it's not like a best of maps. The way how this works is that there's going to be a pick phase with maps being done, where the players will be able to select the maps based on the order of the amount of World Tour points they have. So for example, if we look at this match right here, Otak has the most amount of World Tour points from the entire season. He will get to pick first, and then afterwards we're going to look at who's going to be the second most points, third, fourth. And with that, the map order is going to be decided in this specific way. The same thing is going to be for every single match. So that's the way how the map rotation is going to end up. On every single map, there's going to be 5 rounds played, and then we're going to instantly go to the next match, next map, which is going to be one of the ways how it's also was done in the past, which is, let's say, a bit more old school, like match procedure as it was, let's say, comparing to last year. But yeah, so far the way how it's going to work, where you can watch these matches will be broadcasted both on the Trackmania World Tour YouTube channel, also on the Trackmania Twitch channel. There's going to be a French broadcast also as well available, which you can also find it on the World Tour on esports.trackmania.com website, which is the official site where most official information is used. One thing I definitely noticed during this year is that whenever there was some newer information, like no one really checks the official accounts, and that's because most people really rely on content creators. And that's one of the reasons why most of the information regarding events was not really aware of the majority of the audience. But most of the core information is on the esports.trackmania website. You can also go on trackmania.com and then find a tab that will say esports here, like it says on the top as well. That should be the more core information. If you have any additional questions or things like that, would be awesome to hear it. If there are some things regarding the feedback, I will also be posting probably a feedback survey after the end of the events to hear some of the thoughts regarding this year's circuit. We have already obviously heard some of the things and some suggestions about it, but probably I will try to create like a feedback survey that I can then later on present to some people in charge as well about what people think about this year's competitive system. But yeah, anyway, I think the matches are going to be absolute bangers. I have my favorites as well, but I'm not going to reveal them just yet. Maybe on a tweet or something, I could post it before the event starts. But I have my personal favorites that I really want to see win, but I don't think that will happen, but who knows, who knows. This field of players, despite having a different qualifying pack, is still going to be interesting. I do still the matches can go either way. It's going to be pretty cool to see Mada and Carl Jr. how they do on this map pack, especially how they not show themselves on it. The same with Otak, but especially how Mada now will look like with his wheel, because he switched to a wheel last year. I would say that Mada on controller was way better as a player than he was on wheel, but I think this will be the real test to see how does he actually compare when everyone's full practice, and also on maps that I do think can potentially fit his style, with having these wonky, really difficult type of maps. So who knows, who knows. But yeah. Anyway, if you have any additional questions, that'll be it for me today. Thank you for watching and see you later. Bye-bye.